You have to be really conscious of how you're using the device in terms of the distance from the sound source and the sound source that the sensor is going to detect, right? So typically a general purpose airborne sensor listens conically, right? A cone shape. And it has a listening angle of about 30 degrees. If you think about a right-handed triangle with about a 30-degree angle, the radius or the listening circle is, you can calculate that by the tangent of 30 degrees, which is about 0.58 times the distance between the sensor and the target. So it's represented by the little lowercase d. And the diameter or the width of the base of that cone that you're going to be listening within is about 2 times 0.58 or 1.15. It's actually 1.16 times the distance. So that blue oval, which would be a circular pattern at the as you're aiming that airborne sensor, you're going to detect ultrasound within that cone much more readily. So that's why when we're using an airborne sensor, we want to be scanning back and forth and up and down and trying to detect approximately where the sound's coming from, so that then you could put on the focusing tip and get close and really pinpoint where it is. So the idea here is that you have to be really careful about thinking about the distance to the target and what would be within that target circle. So there might be multiple ultrasound sources that are coming from within that circle. And just as an example, if we have a distance to the target of about 5 centimeters, then the target range would be about 5.77, or that circle that we're going to be picking up ultrasound signals from. If it got out to 100 centimeters, then we'd be at about 115 centimeter diameter for that target range. So I think you get the point. The further away you get, the larger that target circle gets. And it makes it much more broad on the amount of ultrasound signal that you're going to be picking up. Another way to look at this is if I take this ultrasound meter and move it across where the sound source is, you see that there's a peak when I'm directly aligned with it, and then it starts dropping off as I go down. And also, if I'm well aligned and I push closer and closer and closer, then we get higher and higher decibel readings. So as I move around, you can see that aiming and being in proximity to the sound source makes a big difference in how much of that sound source is being detected. So again, be careful when using a sensor that's listening to a large area, right? So we want, the further away you are, it may be more convenient, but you're also going to be listening to a lot more potential sound sources. Is it just the sound source that you think you're listening to, or are there multiple sound sources within that area? Is it not something that's out of your focus zone, right? So remember that inverse distance rule.